I had a heart attack. My wife said vacation came first. True story. The last thing I heard before the ambulance doors closed was my neighbor yelling, "Stay with us, Mark." I honestly thought I was dying. 3 hours later, I woke up in the cardiac ICU, surrounded by monitors. The doctor leaned over my bed and spoke carefully. "You had a major heart attack. Another 30 minutes without treatment, and you probably wouldn't have made it." Then he hesitated. "We contacted your wife." I nodded weakly. I assumed she'd be here already. Instead, he looked away. "She said she was about to board a flight and asked if there was any point in canceling the trip if you were already receiving treatment." Those words hurt more than the pain in my chest. For 23 years, I believed I had built a happy family. I worked 7 days a week growing my roofing business. Every overtime shift, every holiday I missed, every anniversary I promised to make up later. I convinced myself it was all for my wife, Karen, and our teenage son. I ignored headaches. I ignored exhaustion. I ignored the warning signs my body had been giving me for months. The heart attack simply finished what stress had started. While I lay in intensive care, Karen posted pictures from a luxury beach resort, sunsets, poolside dinners, smiling selfies with captions about finally relaxing. Not once did she ask the nurses how I was doing. The only people who visited me were my younger brother Ethan and my office manager, Claire. They stayed every day. They brought clean clothes, handled my business, and reminded me that I wasn't completely alone. On the 4th day, Ethan quietly handed me his phone. "You deserve to see this." It wasn't another vacation photo. It was security camera footage from our house recorded the night before my heart attack. Karen wasn't packing for vacation. She was letting another man into our home. The timestamp stole my breath. She hadn't betrayed me after I became sick. She had already been living another life. Oddly enough, I didn't cry. Something inside me simply went quiet. The next morning, I called my attorney. By the time I was discharged, every important document had changed. My will, my bank accounts, ownership of my company, everything. 6 days after my heart attack, Karen finally walked through our front door, carrying expensive shopping bags and souvenirs. She froze. I wasn't alone. My attorney sat beside me at the dining table. "So, you're home already?" she asked nervously. "I am." She forced a smile. "We came back as soon as we could." I slid an envelope across the table. She opened it. The color disappeared from her face. Divorce papers, property agreements, copies of the security footage. She stared at the photographs for several seconds before whispering, "Who showed you this?" I answered calmly. The truth has a way of finding people. For the first time since we'd met, she had nothing to say. No excuses, no anger, only silence. As she stood there crying, I realized something that took me 23 years to understand. The heart attack hadn't destroyed my life. It had exposed it. Recovery wasn't just learning to walk farther every week or taking new medication. Recovery meant refusing to spend another day with someone who only loved the life I provided, not the man who built it. People often tell me surviving a heart attack was my second chance. They're only half right. My second chance didn't begin in the hospital. It began the moment I stopped begging for love from someone who had already checked out long before my heart ever failed.